The time has finally come. Hello, everybody. My name is Sam Cook with Cookn Reviews. As always, my co-host.
I'm Peyton Harris, otherwise known as Joe Matrix, and we are here today to review what, Sam?
It's finally time, Peyton. We're reviewing Sonic X.
Sonic X is a show from 2003, I believe,
Yes, up until about 2006.
and was said to be one of the first adaptations of the games to show format.
I believe so. There were Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons before this show, but they were all not based off the games. And as far as I'm aware, this is the first Sonic the Hedgehog like TV show or movie to directly adapt a story from the games. I believe that's what the show was even pitched as a just adaptation for the games.
And it's really interesting some of the things that they did with it, and even though some of the replacements, I think you'll agree, were not the best actress.
Yes, absolutely. We'll definitely be talking about Chris in this review. But before we get to that, I want to quickly touch upon a bit of the history that we are aware of for this show. There isn't a whole lot of it because, again, I don't know if it's just me and Peyton, but information on the production of the show is slightly difficult to find, and so we'll just talk about what we know for sure.
We learned a few things. As one of the main differences being the difference in the English dub, the Japanese dub. There was some history in the budgeting. And there are things that went in the background of the show.
Yeah. Probably the most interesting part about the history is that 4Kids TV was the cable network that was chosen to do the English dub of Sonic X.
And they are notorious for removing things in relation to their dubbing.
Exactly. We're not going to mention all the examples here, but in other shows, for example, instead of guns in certain scenes, it was literally just people pointing their fingers at each other. And in certain scenes, cigarettes are removed and replaced with lollipops. And this show actually has some examples of that.
There was text removed from signs. The laser sound format for the guns just threw me off a bit.
Yeah. What he's referring to is that a lot of the police officers in this show use realistic looking guns. And in Japanese, they sound like, firearms. They sound like real guns. In the English version, they sound like laser guns.
And we're not entirely sure why.
No. And we're just going to go ahead and point this out. If you do plan on watching Sonic X, watch the Japanese version.
Watch the sub, lads.
Yes. Normally I wouldn't say that because hate me all you want, I am a English dub person all the way. But when it negatively impacts a show like this one, it's just not worth it. And in case you're curious, I'll just go ahead and say it. In my opinion, the easiest way to do it would be Hulu because it has all the episodes of the Japanese version.
Meanwhile, in Netflix, you can watch the first 2 seasons in Portuguese, Spanish, English, and what was the other one? Oh, German.
But not Japanese.
Yep, you won't get the sub, not here.
We'll go into probably some more specific examples of the censorship when we go into character sections. Because it's more about what the characters do that are censored.
And there is a lot of it.
Yes. But, moving away from the history of it, let's talk about the story of Sonic X. Now, like we said, this is an adaptation of the video games, but there's a lot of, would you say, Peyton, supplementary material added.
Supplementary material? Yeah, a bunch of stuff was changed. If you want, on YouTube, there's a place where you could go see the differences. There, these supplements are implemented.
Yeah. I will say this, though. For this episode, me and Peyton have specifically watched the first 2 seasons of the show. We're not doing season 3 yet. That will be the very next episode.
And we will try to hit up on all the points because we have to watch the entirety of season 3, and that could take some time of binging.
Yes. But starting off with season 1, even though this is supposed to be an adaptation of the games, specifically Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, there's not really any game stories that are adapted for season 1.
Season 1 is a lot of, yes, you are my friend child. Come with me and you'll see how fast I can go.
Yes, it's a lot of Saturday morning cartoon plots.
Ones that sort of, you hit it, and then you stop, and then next episode you got a whole new plot, and it's all involving Eggman.
Because he's amazing.
I mean, he has the best lines, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Just his witty cracks whenever Sonic does anything. I cannot understand. They probably put most of the writing effort into Eggman.
Probably so. I will say there is a storyline in season 1, but it is mostly just those Saturday morning cartoon plots. It's just like, oh, hey, we need to find the Chaos Emerald in this episode. Oh no, Eggman got it. Next episode, we got it back. A whole lot of that up until the last 2 episodes.
Even in season 2, it did that so much.
Yeah, but season 2 at least had story arcs, and they were mostly wrapped up.
They had overarching story arcs more compared to what season 1 offered.
Yeah, and characters never really had a lot of motivations. They were just there, I felt like.
To be fair, that's most of the show.
I'll give you that. Also, I keep bringing up things that need to be mentioned. Peyton has never seen this show before the watch through we just did. I grew up on the show, however.
You have the nostalgia factor. I have the first person looking at this factor.
Yeah. Although, as we'll see going forward, nostalgia can't save it that much.
I could see how you could like this as a kid, and they could get away with it.
Yeah.
However, I am 21. I am watching this for the first time. I don't see a whole lot of value.
Yeah. Again, this is mostly just going to the English version, not the Japanese version. But let's talk about another thing that was introduced through season 1, the theme songs.
Theme songs were completely different. I have listened to them both. They're both good in their own respects.
Yeah. I personally prefer the Japanese one, which I don't know the title of it, but I think it's called Go Sonic. Whereas the English version is Gotta Go Fast, which I think everyone has at least heard.
At least in meme format, you have probably heard this song.
Mm-hmm. But there's not really a whole lot to say on them. Although, I guess we can talk about this now since I've mentioned the theme music. I think the music overall, at least for the English version, is mediocre.
I think it boosted up a point, to be honest, on the point scale, just because I thought it was catchy.
I will say nothing bad against the composers, because there was another show they did called Chaotic, and they composed that one, and I thought the score there, in my opinion at least, was much better. But a lot of trumpets. Lots and lots of trumpets.
Lots of gotta go fast. Zoom, zoom. I think the visuals are what added to it a bit, maybe.
Yeah. The animation for the show overall, I think me and Peyton actually disagreed on this. Why don't you go first and explain your thoughts on the animation overall?
Certain scenes it does pretty well in. And I give them credit because hand-drawn animation is just a pain. I don't think they had the budget to do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
And there's some episodes where you can just see, yes, we took this and we made it move just a little bit. It's sort of a repeating, sort of like a walk cycle. And other episodes, you just say, holy crap, we know where the budget of the season went into this episode here.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think it's about hit and miss in certain parts. I think it looks good in other parts, and then other times it's early 2000s anime.
There's a lot of early 2000s anime that looks similar. One of the things that we could look at probably be simple Naruto.
Yeah. Very much so early Naruto.
Yes, not the late Naruto, early Naruto when it first started. Because in that there was a lot of stop frames where you just zoom out on the same pictures so nobody has to move. That sort of it does save money on the budget. Does it look that great? Depends.
No, not most of the time I've found.
Yes, so that's how similar Sonic is. It's similar in that respect, I mean.
Yeah. I will also say, since we're still primarily discussing season 1, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
I want to compare it to the show we looked at last time on our Sonic Marathon, Sonic Boom.
There is several comparisons in Sonic Boom in this one that
Yeah.
I can think of.
Yeah, at least in the first season. By season 2, I think they shift dramatically.
You can tell a difference in budget in both shows.
Yeah. Boom clearly had a bigger budget.
And I think a better overall story, even though it was more of a comedy.
Yeah. And I don't think you'll find this hard to believe, folks, but Sonic Boom is a much better show than Sonic X.
Which you wouldn't expect, considering it's kind of off from the games. It's based off a single game, and even that was a bit loose whenever they did the adaptation for it.
Yeah. But still, Sonic Boom, I think, has much better written characters, storylines. The only thing I could really say that they're probably evenly matched on are the pure comedy episodes.
There were quite a few handful of pure comedy episodes.
Yeah,
Weren't they the same amount of episodes per season, if I remember right?
maybe. There were about 26 per season in Sonic X,
Yes.
and roughly similar, if not the same, in Sonic Boom.
At least is accurate in the respect that Eggman seems to always be the villain.
Yeah, that's about the thing they got going that's most similar in both adaptations.
Except for that one time in season 2 where angry military guy wants to blow up Eggman and somehow that's evil.
Which part was that again?
It was right before they were gonna try to cause chaos control. And then there's this guy, he says, yes, I hate Sonic and I hate Eggman, so I'm gonna go blow up Eggman.
Oh, was that the arc where they like try to sneak on Eggman's base because he's captured a bunch of police officers or something?
Yeah, no, this was right before the ending of season 2.
Oh, okay. I will say though, the similarities between Sonic Boom and Sonic X stop pretty much as season 1 is ending. But before we get to that, I want to talk about my personal favorite episode of season 1, and the one I think represents it the most.
The baseball episode.
Absolutely. Again, both me and Peyton agree that this first season is more of a Saturday morning cartoon type of season. So, obviously, the episode that focuses more on the comedy, I think, is the best episode, and it's easily episode number 10, I believe. The baseball episode.
I think it represents what the show is supposed to be in season 1 at the very least.
Yeah. Again, you can
very entertaining.
Yeah. You can disagree with me and Peyton, but this is just how we feel about it.
It really does represent what the show is.
Yeah. And it has some of the best one-liners, like how Chuck, Chris's grandfather, who we'll get to later, kind of is like a forum poster, because in the Japanese version, Eggman says, "So you're Chuck, huh? I've seen you posting about robots online."
He's a Reddit poster. Get him.
Yeah. And it also features, in my opinion, one of the most blatant differences between the English and Japanese versions.
Be careful watching this, children. It's very odd.
I don't know if I really want to say it on the internet. It's kind of...
cream shield.
hits
Flirts
on it.
with a robot
Yeah,
in a
and
very sensual manner.
yeah, she like flashes her lips at him, like almost kisses him, it looks like. And Cream's like 10.
Is she 10? I thought she was 9.
Uh, what? Same age range.
She's a wee child.
Yeah. Oddly enough, though, that's not the worst thing that happens to a child on this show.
Yeah, there's child abuse.
We'll get to all that later.
Yay.
But Peyton, is that your favorite episode of the first season?
Without a doubt, that is, because it's the most memorable to me.
Yeah.
Even more so than the finale of the season.
Season 1.
Yes.
Speaking of which, let's move on to the finale of season 1, because in my opinion, it marks a departure from what the show was trying to do to going into more of a serious direction.
Even though, personal opinion, it never takes a serious direction. Not totally.
No, but at the end of season 1, Eggman finally gets all 7 Chaos Emeralds, thanks to Knuckles being an idiot.
He is naive. I don't know if he's an idiot. It's... How do I explain this? He doesn't understand people and when they're tricking him. And in that regard, he is stupid.
It never seems like he does. But once Eggman gets it, Sonic catches up to him because Eggman also kidnapped Chris because Chris is an idiot.
Yeah, and somehow breaks free from the trap and have to hold him down.
Yeah, but before he does that, Eggman transforms into a giant robot and pretty much just kicks the crap out of Sonic.
Absolutely kicks the crap out of Sonic, which I don't understand what the point of gathering all 7 Chaos Emeralds is, to be honest, because if you do that, doesn't that automatically send them away?
I don't think so. You have to specifically do, like, Chaos Control or something.
Which I don't entirely understand, but...
I think the reason Eggman did it was because it powered his robot.
Granted, with 6, he could probably take over the world already.
Yeah. But here's the thing I always just realized is, like, I don't know why the bad guys are trying to find the Chaos Emeralds. Because for those of you who don't understand your Sonic lore, when Sonic gets a hold of all 7 Chaos Emeralds, he transforms into Super Sonic.
Which is the coolest thing in the show.
Which, he's pretty much unstoppable when he does it.
Which I don't understand how he does it. Does he absorb the power of the Chaos Emeralds?
He does.
Oh.
That's how he does it. Then. But that's how he does it. He gets the... So, as a bad guy, I would be thinking, we need to, kill him before he gets the emeralds, not get the emeralds ourselves.
He's a super powerful hedgehog. And there's also a point... You get to see kind of how fast he is. Sonic. Yeah. And just how good his power is. And his rivalry with Chris's cousin, whose name I cannot... passes me.
I think it's Sam.
Yes, because they get into a race on a highway, and it's a photo finish, but to beat him, Sonic finishes the race, goes back, and then goes a third time down the track just to match him, and he still beats him.
Yeah, when you do stuff like that, it almost makes you wonder, if you're that fast, how do you ever lose?
I guess sometimes he's slow. Metabolism, maybe? I don't know how hedgehogs work.
I think he's just doing it to joke around with them.
He does do things more for the thrill of it, so that's not exactly out of his character.
Yeah. But that ends season 1, and it ends with the creatures of Sonic's world coming into the human world, which leads us directly into season 2.
Along with several islands.
Yes.
From their world.
Now, season 2 moves away from the Saturday morning cartoon plots of the show to focus more on story arcs.
There is a handful of Saturday morning things, but Sam is right. It does focus a bit more on the story arcs.
And this is where we finally get a direct adaptation from the video games. Specifically, we get a adaptation of Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, and later on, Sonic Battle.
Which, to my knowledge, Sonic Battle was it wasn't played that much.
It was decent, and it was on the Game Boy Advance, so a bit of a small audience compared to, say, the adventure games.
Mhm.
But this season, I will say, is probably better than the first one, just because of its overall more complex nature.
There's about 4 main arcs, I think.
Yeah. There's the ones I just mentioned, Adventure 1, Adventure 2, the battle arc, and then the arc where they have to leave Earth.
And there's a growing romance between Rouge and Knuckles, which is interesting.
Yeah, we'll address that a bit later because I think this is the only time where that's sort of a thing. But man, do they kind of make the most of it in extremely weird ways.
Did they do this in the games? Because I never played the games.
I mean, Knuckles and Rouge do interact in Sonic Adventure 2. But I don't know if there was as much, how do I put this? Tension in the games compared to the show.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the show. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. But at the same time, I should really just play the game, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, they're on PS4, I think. Digitally.
PS4, PC, all that jazz. Woo.
Yeah. But let's start going into the specific storylines. So we have Sonic Adventure 1. In this storyline, Eggman has found a creature of, we'll just call him pure energy, called Chaos. And the way this creature works is that the more emeralds that Eggman gives the creature, the more powerful he becomes.
And he keeps doing this, even though in the first 2 episodes they already gave him 4 emeralds, which made him really overpowered.
Even though the crew has still managed to beat him pretty easily.
Which is strange, considering they almost lost to 2 emeralds.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of side plots going on. For example, there's Big the Cat, who's searching for his friend Froggy.
There's the government well, that's sort of a thing from 1, where the government agent is trying to, hey Chris, what's Sonic up to?
Oh, like the weird teacher?
Yeah,
That plot was always a bit strange to me.
considering it's relatively meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Unless you count his importance to the Adventure 2 arc.
You mean the part where he finds his base, Eggman's base, underground?
I don't know if or I don't know if he does that, or if we're talking about when they are he's with that news reporter lady.
He is with that news reporter lady a lot.
But that's for the next story arc.
Romance.
I was about to say, probably the main driving force of the Adventure 1 arc is Tikal,
Oh.
who is an echidna, which is the race of animal that Knuckles is, from the past, that all the characters are having visions of.
I noticed that, and they have visions of him whenever they pick up an emerald,
Yeah.
which I didn't really understand. The piece of the past, memories they don't have.
I was about to say, the game's plots, they could have probably done a better job adapting them for the show, maybe fixing some of the confusing points from the games, but they just chose not to. But what I believe it is that the Chaos Emeralds are showing them, like you said, a piece of the past. This also kind of explains how Chaos was created. You see, in the past, these tribe of echidnas, which is again a race of animals that Knuckles is,
Gone to Knuckles.
if you want to bring up that dead meme, yes. But they're like, we need to get the Chaos Emeralds to protect our village. And so they attack this temple with a bunch of Chow in it, which Chow are essentially flying pets in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. And they're about to take the Chaos Emeralds when Chaos, the creature that Eggman supposedly created, comes out and he seemingly kills the entire tribe.
So Eggman didn't create chaos?
I don't think he did.
But then
He
how did
just
he
probably...
get chaos?
What?
Did he tame chaos? Because chaos seems to follow him.
He probably did. Because Chaos just wanted the emeralds. But pretty much this all culminates in... Oh, right, I forgot about the robot, Gamma.
Wasn't there a lot of... There were 4 different robots, weren't they?
Yeah, but Gamma is the only one that gets significant development. And Gamma is probably the most tragic character out of all the Sonic Adventure 1 characters. In my opinion, at least. Aside from maybe Tikal.
But we only get visions. Well, no, we don't get visions. Well,
Tikal doesn't get as much screen time as she probably deserves.
she may have been the reason for the visions,
Yeah,
when you think about it.
I think she is, because I'll get to the ending of the arc later, which... Gamma is a robot created by Eggman, and he puts these little animals inside the robots, which I guess causes the animals to be powered up. Or the robots to. And Gamma figures out that Eggman's not exactly a good leader. And so he goes and frees the animals later on from the robot prisons. And eventually, he frees all of them, but he dies in the process. But he realizes that that had to happen in order to free the animal that was inside of him.
Weird how they have robots thinking like that.
Yeah, but then other robots don't.
Or maybe the animals inside of them have free thought.
Yeah. This all eventually culminates in the final part of it where Chaos gets all 7 emeralds and becomes a giant monster that essentially floods the entirety of the city that Sonic and his friends are in. But then, of course, Sonic goes supersonic and beats him, but not before being told by Tikal, hey, the emeralds have been drained of their power by Chaos. But of course, everyone brings an emerald back, including Chris.
Who we don't really care about.
No, but of course, through the power of friendship or something, the emeralds are refilled with their power.
And everything
of course,
is okay.
Just roll with it. But that's about the end of the Adventure 1 arc. I thought it was much better as a kid, but overall, watching it now, it's okay.
I thought the coolest part about it was whenever Sonic goes supersonic again.
Yeah, that's about the coolest part of all the arcs.
Just watching him go overpowered, something about that just makes you say, wow, I love that.
Yeah. But after that is the Adventure 2 arc. My personal favorite story arc of maybe the entire show.
Why is it your favorite of all the other arcs in the show?
Well, it's the one I watched the most as a kid, and of course, Peyton. It introduces my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog character.
Ah, your good old friend Shadow.
I'm Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Sam has a type. He likes the dark and brooding characters.
What can I say? I like edgy characters. But, I don't know if I'm going to go in depth as I did on the last one, but I will go through the basics.
Such as the part where they replace Chris with Amy on the ship.
Yeah.
There's
Chris.
I think everyone hates Chris. And the reviews that I've seen of this show, everyone hates Chris. There's not a soul I think that likes him.
He's just the worst.
I guess we'll get into him more in the character section, but gosh, he's a main plot point and everything. It's hard not to mention him when
Yeah,
talking about storylines.
but pretty much it's revealed that on Earth, Eggman's grandfather, who lived on Earth, created a hedgehog called Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow convinces everyone that Sonic is a bad guy, even though they look nothing alike. And
Because they did framing and in the shadows are like, yes, that's the shape of a hedgehog. That's Sonic. We're gonna arrest him now.
wait, doesn't Sonic have blue fur and this guy has red and black fur? It doesn't matter.
Don't worry about it.
But it all culminates. Again, I'm trying not to spoil it because I do think this is maybe the one arc of the show I would say is probably worth watching, in my opinion at least.
This would be, if you were to recommend an arc, this would be the one that you would recommend to people to watch.
Yes. And
correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this the only time that Shadow appears throughout the entire series?
in season 1 and 2,
So he does come back in season 3.
yes, he becomes a major plot point in season 3. Even though they supposedly killed him.
Hey, you can't have a good character without tragedy.
Right. Which, we'll talk about that later when we get to Shadow, but he's maybe the most tragic character on the show.
Is he the same tragic character in the games?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. But going back to the plot, eventually it's revealed that even though they got all the emeralds together and Eggman thought he'd be able to use it for his own gain, it was actually just a plot set up by his father to destroy the Earth for taking away his granddaughter, which I guess is technically Eggman's sister?
Or, no, not niece, cousin. Or, no, I think, yeah, sister?
Even though he never directly says, she's my sister.
Which, my goodness, your brother, he sucks.
Yeah. Even though Marie is dead. Or Maria is dead.
Way to rub salt in the wound.
Yeah. But, of course, in the end, Shadow is convinced, hey, maybe not every human is bad. By Chris. In the games, it is Amy that convinces Shadow that humans aren't all bad. But in the show, they make it Chris. Although, in a weird sort of way, Chris in the show gets beat up by Shadow in the Japanese version. But Amy never does, not even in the games.
I guess they thought that would add spice to it?
I guess, or maybe the animators hated Chris.
And they just wanted to take their revenge on.
It's just like, we didn't even want this character in the show. This will show him.
Honestly, Chuck would have been a better just human character for the show.
Yes, we'll discuss that later, but you were absolutely right. But
After being Chuck around, not Chuck, Chris around like a rag doll. There was a Shadow. He convinced not all humans are bad. Unfortunately, there's about to be tragedy.
Yep, Shadow dies.
Dun dun dun.
Or does he?
Dun dun dun.
But, I forgot to mention the specific edit that the English version makes to Chris' talk with Shadow. Peyton, why don't you explain the editing on this part.
He doesn't get slapped around like a rag doll in the English version, and yet in the Japanese version, Shadow just hits the crap out of him.
He yeets him across the room.
I don't understand why he eats him across the room entirely. Just, please, you gotta not do this.
Hands off.
Hands off. Beats a child down. Makes him cry, probably.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense because Shadow saves Chris in the first place from being on an exploding island.
And it doesn't really make sense why he would attack Chris.
Yeah. But moving on from that. Oh, right. I was going to mention the editing in the English version of that scene. Instead of just showing Chris being thrown, they just zoom in on Shadow's hand touching, like, Chris's arm. And then it just cuts away. But when it cuts back, Chris is on the complete other side of the room. And I think even as a kid, I was like, wait, how did he end up over there? Did he just get hurt from Shadow touching his arm?
Shadow teleported him over there because he's so fast.
Yeah, I guess. But that's really the ending of the arc. Shadow dies, saving the Earth, and Sonic somehow lives. And Chris is sad that Shadow is dead, even though Shadow just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, I'd personally not be very happy that a hedgehog beat the crap out of me.
It's just like, he's dead? I mean, it's sad, because he saved everyone, but he did just throw me across the room. Which Chris's butler did nothing to stop it. He just let it happen.
Yeah, Tanaka. Oh, what a great guy. Too bad he doesn't do much.
Absolutely. But that is it for that arc. There are actually 2 more arcs in the show. The Sonic Battle arc and the Leaving Earth arc. Peyton, I feel like I've been talking too much. I'll let you take the stage on these 2 arcs.
Sonic Battle arc is... Sorry, I've been to watch it, Sam. What was the battle arc?
It's the one with Emerald.
Emerald?
The robot.
Oh, you mean the one where they pick up the robot that copies everything?
Yes, that one. Do you know the arcs well enough to talk about them?
I know the closing one enough to talk about it.
Okay, I'll do the Sonic Battle one since it's a really quick one.
I can help in the last bits of it, but I don't have the start of it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. The next arc is a significant step down in quality. It's the Sonic Battle arc. It's really simple. Eggman goes to jail because he's Eggman. And he breaks out. And the president's brilliant idea for getting Eggman's attention is to host a martial arts tournament. And eventually Eggman will come because the prize is a Chaos Emerald.
Which is about the dumbest idea that one could have to attract Eggman.
Yeah.
And it's essentially where you took all the characters of the show and they said, let's put them into a martial arts tournament to see if they could win. I mean, everyone is in this tournament. Chris's parents are in it. Chris is in it. Eggman's robots are in it. And all of the main characters are in it. And the only time Eggman shows up to this tournament is to shoot at Sonic. And then he forfeits the tournament to chase down Eggman.
Sonic does?
Yes, because they're like, well, he left Square, and even though that is the reason why we had this tournament is to catch Eggman. And there he goes. Let Sonic go off.
We might as well just keep going with the tournament.
Then you had... you just have a whole lot of side characters. Some of them didn't even fight.
Probably the only good part about the arc is Rouge, who is in peak form in this arc. This is what she does. She beats Tails in a fight by just kissing him on the cheek.
Which is absolutely genius, and because Tails is like 11 or 12.
So he probably thinks women have cooties or something.
and he just died.
And then she beats Amy in a fight, although the English version like cuts away from the ending as Amy is getting angry.
Yeah, she kind of kicks away her hammer.
Yeah. And then there's the fight with Knuckles, which might be the weirdest of them all.
Because she's just like, yeah, let's do this in private. And there's a tent, and they think because she's a bat that she's going to win with sonar location. And she goes out of the tent. She walks out, she's fine. Only to reveal her passing out backstage. And Knuckles was okay the entire time.
The tension, if you catch my drift.
And then the robot versus Knuckles at the end, who's able to copy everything. What was his name?
Emerald.
He absolutely decimates Knuckles because he can copy Sonic and everybody in Rouge. And then he goes berserk. And then Eggman's not even the main problem anymore. Because after he gets the Chaos Emerald, Rouge goes off on a spree, destroys a city. This is probably one of the most destructive episodes that happens throughout the series.
Which is saying something. Because Eggman blows up the moon in the last arc.
That was an interesting arc. So they lead Sonic off toward the sea because Sonic, Knuckles, and Rouge are just getting the crap beat out of them. And then something completely unexpected happens. Rouge gets beat up by Cream and Cheese, of all people. Because he can't copy more than one person at a time.
Wait, are you saying Rouge or Emerald?
Emerald.
I thought you said Rouge.
Oh, if I said Rouge, I apologize.
You meant Emerald.
I meant Emerald if I said Rouge before.
But we haven't mentioned them yet, but Cream and Cheese are like the kid characters pretty much. But they're less annoying than Chris.
Yeah, they're actually okay. I give them a pass.
Yeah.
But they fly, they beat him up, they throw him into the sea, and he explodes.
And he like cries, and it's supposed to be emotional because he's formed almost a brother-sister type relationship with Cream and Cheese.
And he's really the only person that gets along with Cream and Cheese. And he just blows up. He dies.
Yeah. This is probably the weakest arc out of the season, in my opinion.
There definitely could have been more things probably done with it. It was interesting to see that, yes, the three of us teamed up, the three main good guys cannot defeat this robot because he's just so powerful, which is something Eggman never did really that much.
But an 8 to 10-year-old just destroys him.
With a really squeaky voice who flirted with a robot in a baseball game. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, it's okay. Not. It's still my least favorite though. But then there's the final arc, the arc where Sonic and his friends leave Earth.
This was one of the more interesting arcs, and this is peak stupidity for Chris. All right, this literally makes me hate the character somehow even more than I already do. Because the entire point was, okay, we need the Chaos Emeralds because time is going to stop if we do not find all of them and cause chaos control. And so Chris is just like, no, Sonic, he's my best friend. He can't go away, which I'll probably get this later, but Chris clearly has other friends and family who he can rely on, not just Sonic, which makes me feel no sympathy for him in that regard.
And I believe it's said even later, Chris is like, I was lonely before you got here. I'm like, what about your grandfather? What about your school friends? What about your butler?
What about your maid?
And continue.
So he goes off to see Eggman, Eggman tells him, yeah, there's no point in conquering the world if time stops. It pretty much tells him, hey, believe it or not, kid, this is not my doing. We're going to leave now. And he's just like, no, but Sonic. Eh.
Which is actually a really, I wasn't aware of that. It's probably semi-obvious, but me and Peyton were very busy this month, and so we didn't have time to watch every episode.
Some parts were skipped out of, but finales we don't skip.
Yeah, but that's really interesting that Chris actually tried to see if Eggman was doing it, and Eggman's just like, there's no point in it, kid. I'm leaving. Get over it.
And that's probably the most emotional touch Eggman has throughout the series. Because I think he actually is going to miss Chris.
There is a moment in season 3 between the two of them that's actually genuinely sweet.
Which is very strange in someone whose entire motivation is to conquer the world.
Yes.
But anyway, so after that, they go out, they find the Chaos Emeralds. Eggman's actually not trying to stop them this time. And after Chris is secretly hoping that they don't collect them all. And that, oh yeah, they can stay here and we can live out the same day over and over again. But no, they find them all. They get the machine powered up and everyone says their goodbyes. And this has some of the most heartfelt things, specifically between Chuck and Tails. Almost made me cry. Because I'm like, dang, they really connected.
You two are okay.
You two are okay. Chuck, I really wish that you were the replacement for Chris. Because you are so much better. Then everyone says their goodbyes. And then right before Sonic walks through the portal and goes back to his home world, Chris stops him and is going to destroy the world so that he can keep Sonic here. And Sonic's okay with it.
Again, they try to explain it by the fact that Chris is lonely, but me and Peyton have already called bull on that. What about your grandparents? Your butler? All of your school friends, do they mean nothing to you?
Your parents don't love you? Sucks to suck, kid, okay? You have friends. Get over it.
Okay, I will give Chris this. His parents aren't around that lot because they have very busy jobs. His dad is like the head of a corporation and his mom is an actress.
But they don't hate him.
And to almost doom the entire human race.
And essentially say that, hey, everyone else present, you don't matter, Sonic matters.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's actually terrible. But
romance.
On Peyton.
So they go off on a bit of a running spree. Chris, I don't know, he gets even worse somehow because after Sonic, he takes Sonic and Sonic willingly comes along for some reason.
To indulge him, I guess.
And so he takes him on a bike ride, truck ride. They essentially go on the lam. They're hiding from everyone because everyone's like, you freaking idiot. You're going to destroy the world. Let's get those Chaos Emeralds and that Sonic back here. Come on, chop, chop. Only so Chris could slowly develop and say, I don't need your help, Sonic. I can do stuff on my own. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. And eventually he's like, oh, Sonic, oh, what? They go off to the lake house that he used to go to. He's like, oh, Sonic, well, why'd you come with me? You haven't talked about it. And turns out Sonic had the Chaos Emeralds the whole time. He could have caused chaos control whenever he wanted.
But I guess Sonic is also an idiot.
I mean, he's not smart. Tails is the only one smart in the Sonic crew, to be honest.
And he's the youngest, arguably.
But anyway, so Chris is like, oh, why did you come with me? And Sonic's like, I don't know. As long as I have somewhere to run, it's fine. Everything's fine. And parents show up, and then Sonic does go back home. That's the entire arc. It's entirely about Chris saying, Sonic, come with me.
Pretty
Please,
much.
you're my friend. I don't want you to go.
Boo hoo.
Boo hoo hoo.
There is one other episode though, and I'm not gonna lie, the final episode of season 2 might be in my top 5 favorite episodes.
It sort of goes in line with the arc. However, things have changed.
It kind of goes back to season 1, and it's just another Saturday morning cartoon episode. Like, it's very silly, but I kind of like it because of it.
The human characters are not there.
What
And
a
it makes it
coincidence.
better. Wow, it's almost like it's a Sonic show.
Yes. But in the final episode, Eggman is annoying everybody because they're trying to sleep, but Amy literally throws her hammer halfway across and just nails his ship repeatedly.
With multiple hammers. Turns out Amy has a lot of hammers. Where does she keep them? Nobody knows.
No, don't ask questions you aren't prepared to handle the answer to.
Where do you keep these giant hammers, Amy?
Don't ask.
Then Tails tries to shoot him down.
And
Then-
Knuckles and Rouge get into a fight.
And there was Super Sonic. He come up, and then there was a romantic bit between Sonic and Amy.
Which is actually genuinely sweet. I like it.
I liked it too. He was at her house and everything. I'm just like, dang, this is the best show of romance between Sonic and Amy I've seen.
And with that, we have finally gone through all the stories of the first 2 seasons.
Are you happy?
I guess not, because we still got more to go in this podcast.
Come on, Sam. Cheer up. It's just character time.
Character time, character time. Who's first? Sonic's first.
Woo! Sonic, blue speedy boy, he's a hedgehog.
Yes, Sonic is not as good as his Boom counterpart. Frankly, I don't know if any of the characters are as good as they are in Boom.
At least the English cast, I thought the voice actor in Boom was better.
Yeah, but I will say, Jason Griffith, who is the Sonic actor, is my personal favorite Sonic voice. Not here, though.
Even though he did kind of get screwed over. As far as the games to show getting fired, all that jazz.
Oh no, Jason Griffith is the one who got to be Sonic.
Oh, the next one?
Yeah, you're talking about Ryan Drummond. We'll get to that later.
Understood. I must brush up on my Sonic history.
But I will say Jason Griffith is much better in the games than he is here. In the games, he sounds older, more confident. Here, he sounds almost like a young kid.
Which Sonic does sort of play the part in this show as more of a carefree, I go with the flow, I do things for the adventure type person.
Yeah, which I was going to save this for the fun facts, but I think it's interesting to talk about here. Jason Griffith, the voice of Sonic, originally auditioned for Chris.
Thank goodness he did not get that part.
But the producers are like, actually, we thought your voice would fit better for Sonic.
He's like, okay.
Yeah. He would go on to play the character from 2003 up until 2008 or 10.
Somewhere around that range.
Yeah. He would only get better as time goes on. But as for the character of Sonic in the show, he's okay.
Yeah, he's alright. He improves. There's times where you could tell there's little cracks where his voice gets deeper for whatever reason. And then all of a sudden he'll tone it back down for what, I don't know, maybe to add effect.
Yeah. And as far as the character goes, just putting aside the voice acting, He's also okay.
Yeah. And
Again, Sonic is much better in Boom, in my opinion.
he is the driving force for the show. I mean, obviously, since Sonic's in the name.
Yeah.
Going Sonic X is probably one of the coolest things that happens in the show.
You mean Super Sonic?
Yeah, from my, I'm sorry.
But as far as his personality goes, he's just pretty much just a cocky kid.
Cocky kid that's better than Chris.
Yeah. Except when he needs to get serious. But even with that, he's still one of my favorites. Not my favorite.
Not your favorite in the show, but one of your favorites.
Yeah. I actually like the next character better, Tails.
Tails, he's the smart Tailsy boy. He can fly.
Yeah. Tails, in my opinion, shines the best in the adventure arc, because there he wants to prove himself to Sonic. And unlike Chris, he does. He saves the entire city without Sonic's help.
And that sort of goes back more to what they do in the games, if I'm right. Is Tails tries to prove to himself that he can be as good as Sonic, or better even.
Yeah, that's a plotline directly lifted from the original Sonic Adventure game. And it's probably one of the better adapted parts of the game to show. So overall, I really like Tails. Tails is like, I could be wrong, but I think he's one of the few characters that improves as the show goes on.
And he is absolutely vital to the plot in several instances.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like him more than Sonic in the show.
Really?
Yes. It's just me, though. Also, fun fact. In English, this was the first time Tails was voiced by a female.
I did not know that.
I probably should have saved that for the fun facts, but oh well. But
now we're just going to go through the fun facts as we go down the character list.
Might as well. But he was always voiced by a young boy before this, but they had to change the actor for every game because the kid's voice would get too deep. And so they just said, you know what, forget it. We're just going to
use a female.
Yeah, which is what they were doing in Japan, I think, anyways.
Better for long-term investment.
Yeah, and since then, Tails has consistently been voiced by a female, including the new Sonic movie, where he's being voiced by the female Colleen O'Shaughnessy, I think is how you pronounce her name, who voiced him in Sonic Boom.
Oh, we're gonna hear her again? Hey, she done a good job in Boom.
Yes. Overall, though, in the show, I really like Tails. Do you like Tails in the show, Peyton?
I think he's a definite addition character. I think that there are times when there needs to be less Chris, more Tails, because Chris kind of filled in what Tails was in the games in several instances.
Yeah.
But I think he was a good character, even though they could have done a little bit more with him.
Yeah. Next character?
We got Knuckles on the list.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I have mixed opinions on Knuckles.
I think they did a pretty good adaptation to him to the games.
Yeah.
Based on my knowledge of the games.
Yeah, there's some parts where I'm like, hey, Knuckles is pretty cool. And other parts where I'm like, you know, I can do without Knuckles.
Yeah, Knuckles, you're a good character. Oh, what? You just gave Eggman all the Chaos Emeralds? Wow, you're a genius.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's fine. I don't really have a lot to say about him. He just puts on the whole tough guy act. The whole show.
He's easy to deceive. He's sort of second to Sonic. And he's really the secondary fighter opposed to Sonic.
The only other interesting thing I could say about him is that he guards the Master Emerald, which is...
And isn't he part of that tribe that was mentioned before?
The Echidnas? He is an Echidna, but I don't know if he was ever a part of the tribe specifically.
And perhaps that has something to do with the flashbacks. Maybe he was... Maybe he was part of the Echidna tribe and he's one of the last of his kind. Or maybe he broke off from the tribe. Who knows? I don't know.
I think we're putting more thought into this than the show's writers did.
Wow. And we've only been at it for 3 minutes.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, he guards the Master Emerald, which is pretty much an emerald that can control all the other Chaos Emeralds.
That's really all he does. Is he wants the emerald, he wants to go back home.
Yeah. And in most arcs, he's just like, where's the Master Emerald?
Look forward to him in the Sonic movie, children. I think you'll like him better there. Do I look like I need your power?
Yeah, where he is being voiced by Idris Elba.
We look forward to that movie. I think it comes out in October.
Yeah. No, Peyton, it comes out in 2 weeks.
I am as dumb as Knuckles, Sam.
No, you aren't. Next character.
Amy.
I like Amy in this show.
She is interesting. Even though most of the time she's either just an aggressive tsundere or she is Sonic's love interest. There is no between.
Yeah, they kind of have a on again, off again thing going on.
Also, keep in mind that Sonic is an adult and she's 14, if I remember correctly.
I don't know, but it is. Wait, what?
No, never mind. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that pretty much sums up her character, but I kind of like it because Amy is hilarious in the show.
She is enjoyable whenever she comes on screen.
Yes.
Admittedly.
And her hammer provides a lot of good comic relief.
Pink girl with hammer. Need I say more?
In some ways, she kind of reminds me of early Sakura.
I could see where you have the comparison. I hear a lot of people comparing her to Scott Pilgrim.
I haven't seen Scott Pilgrim, so I wouldn't understand the reference.
I think there is a point where he tries to get with a girlfriend. I haven't seen the movie either, but apparently there is another female with big hammer in that movie.
But I like Amy. She's not as good as her Sonic Boom counterpart, like not even close.
But she's more accurate to game lore.
Yeah, as far as I can tell. Also, I love her voice. I love the voice actress, and I love the voice she does for Amy.
Even though she doesn't fight as much as Sonic, she definitely plays a part in the team, though.
Yeah.
She can hold her own, because she had big hammer.
Very big hammer. Next up, Cream and Cheese.
They're children, not from this world.
That's about it.
I mean, we covered the part where they beat up the robot. That's really the most action they get.
Yeah.
They drink tea a lot.
I will say this. As far as children characters go. Also, we should probably mention Cream is a rabbit, but she can walk and talk like the rest of the Sonic characters. But Cheese is her chow, which is a thing in the Sonic universe that's like a pet. I think I already mentioned that, but I'm going to say it again. So, yes, that's who they are. But they're just the children characters, but they're much better children characters than Chris.
We'll get to him in a minute, Sam. We're definitely gonna go on a rant.
I swear, we could probably make a whole nother podcast about just how bad of a character Chris is.
He's legit. I only started watching the show a little bit ago, and I think that he just might be one of the most hated characters in shows.
Yeah.
At least by me. Possibly by everyone.
Yeah, but again, like you said, we'll get to him later. We've literally covered all there is to say about Cream and Cheese. There's not a whole lot we can say about him.
Yeah, they're there. They drink tea. They eat cakes.
Yeah. Unlike the next character, Dr. Eggman,
We gotta love him. Always love to see Eggman.
voiced by the incomparable Mike Pollock.
Mike Pollock, voice of Eggman. You love to hear him whenever he's on screen. He, in my opinion, has the best lines throughout the show, just because of his witty comebacks.
It's like, I love the voice cast. It's my overall favorite voice cast of the main Sonic characters. But sometimes not every line reading is amazing, but Mike Pollock, every line that comes out of his mouth is amazing.
He knows exactly what to do with it.
Yes. And overall, as a character, Eggman is just great. He's the only character, I would say, who's probably in the same level of quality as his Sonic Boom counterpart.
And he's really the only driving villain throughout the entirety of the show.
Yeah. There are other villains, but they come and go.
And they always seem to team up with Eggman somehow or play some part in his schemes.
Yes. But overall, Eggman is just a really funny character. He doesn't have a whole lot to his personality besides just being evil, but it's really entertaining when he is on screen.
He is the golden star of the show. You get a gold star show because you have Eggman.
Yes. You know who else they have, Peyton?
Ooh, Sam.
Rouge the Bat.
She is lady with sexy voice.
Yeah, and has a saxophone theme.
Did we mention that everyone kind of has their own theme?
Yeah. Rouge might be the most apparent, though, just because anytime she's even on screen, a saxophone plays.
Anytime Eggman's on screen, he plays sort of a no.
Yes. But Rouge is, I don't know if she's one of my favorites, but she's definitely one of the most interesting because she's a jewel thief who's also a government agent.
Because she got caught as a jewel thief.
Yes, and the government is like, we can use your skills,
And
so we're
now
going to make you a government agent.
And now you work for the president. Good job.
Yeah, but
And there was a romance question mark?
you talking about between her and Knuckles?
Not even what was the girl's name, the other government agent?
Topaz?
Yeah.
Are you saying between her and Rouge?
There was at least a strong friendship there.
Yeah, but I think that's all that was.
I couldn't tell. I don't know.
Clearly, I think it's just more between her and Knuckles.
Then again, as stated before, I haven't watched the entirety of the show. So maybe there was parts that I missed.
Again, it's just her and Knuckles.
But she is lady character. She goes around stealing diamonds and helping the president against
Yeah.
Eggman for some reason.
She's also like a triple agent at points. Like she works for Eggman, but is also secretly working for the government.
And helps Sonic on occasion.
But that's rarely on occasion.
Yeah. Is there really anything else to say about her?
Not really.
Then we shall move on to your favorite.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
It's Sonic, but black.
Far and away the most complicated character in the show. He has a very complicated backstory.
That even I don't fully understand.
So Shadow was created by Dr. Ivo Robotnik, Eggman's grandfather. He was created to be the ultimate life form. But when the government found out about his research, they sent in the military to take care of Robotnik. Maria died in the process of sending Shadow to Earth, I think. And Shadow was kept as at a secret government facility for years. And eventually he wakes up and wants revenge on humans.
Didn't they, in the Japanese version, execute Eggman's grandfather?
Yes.
That's pretty dark.
On video.
Just, hey, yeah, you got this evil hedgehog. Gun you down.
Like, literally. In the English version, he's just like, my countdown has begun. The Earth is being destroyed. And it just repeats. But in the Japanese version, after he makes his declaration, which, by the way, why would you be recording that?
Good question. Who knows?
But they're like this. Have you anything else to say? No. And then you hear this. Line up. And I was like, yo, what?
Why weren't you this violent throughout the entirety of the show?
But Shadow also is just a really cool character to begin with. He has obviously an edgy, deep voice.
Sort of an anti-hero type feel to him.
Yeah, where he only really does it if it's beneficial to him or Maria.
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to say about him except he's just a really cool anti-hero. And his interactions with Sonic are really, really well done, in my opinion. They also have the best... What?
He's the only one that can keep up with Sonic.
Yeah, they also have the best fight scenes between each other.
Where Sonic gets the crap beat out of him. Yeah, hey.
Yeah, you love to see it, folks.
It's because you hang around Chris so much. You'd be stronger if you weren't.
Mm-hmm. I guess we gotta talk about him now, right?
It's transition time to Chris?
It's Chris time, everybody.
All right, get ready for about a 20, 30-minute rant. They'll take up half the podcast. It's fine.
All right, I'm gonna start out first because I grew up on the show.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I always hoped that Eggman would destroy Chris.
As a child, you thought this?
I was literally like, Eggman, this kid is annoying me. I want Sonic and his cool friends to win, but not Chris.
I want Chris to die.
I didn't like Chris. As a kid, I always found him annoying, and even now, he's arguably worse. Let's compare him to another character, Patty, from the Devil May Cry animated series. That show was smart. Patty could be annoying, but the show kept her on just long enough to keep her relevant, but not keep her annoying, as she could be if she was on there for a majority of the time. She didn't go with Dante on his adventures most of the time, because she realized, I'm probably gonna die. Chris, on the other hand, he welcomes death. He goes with Sonic everywhere, even though he could likely die at every single scenario.
He has
Chris
plot armor.
Is so annoying. Go ahead.
I just gonna say he has plot armor, Sam. You can't kill him. He's immune to death because of his plot armor.
But here's what I have to... If even as a kid, I'm like, I don't like Chris. As an adult, I almost despise Chris.
I assume he is aged very poorly, as the show has.
Yes, Chris just might be one of my least favorite characters, and not just the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, but in all of media.
Just because he's left that bad of an impression upon you.
Yes. Okay, maybe if I liked him as a kid, it would be different, but no, I found him annoying as a kid.
And he's just gotten worse as the years gone by, because back as a kid, you could sort of do a self-insert and say, yes, this could be me. I can be important to Sonic too.
Yeah.
I think that's the route they were going with, and in a lot of Japanese media, that's often what they would do. They would do a kid insert in more kid shows.
Yeah, but it never really works out.
It just makes you hate him.
Sonic should have done what Naruto did to Konohamaru and just punched the ever-living daylights out of him.
Dude, I would love that.
You remember that part in Naruto?
Yeah, there's several parts where he does that.
I don't care if he's your grandmother, so believe it.
It's like, he punched me. But my father, my grandfather, he's the Hokage.
But that's overall all I have to say about Chris. He's annoying, the show spends too much time on him, and I don't like him. Peyton?
Boy, He is in literally every plot point. I do not exaggerate. He is in every plot point. He doesn't need to be in every plot point. Occasionally, he needs to be in a plot point. But as they got him stand up, he's really just a friend with benefits. Because he is keeping them.
What a phrase to use.
Should I rephrase that?
I mean, let me explain what he means by that. Or can you explain it?
I mean that.
We're keeping this in.
Oh, my bad.
We're keeping this in, by the way.
I couldn't think of another way to say it, so.
But do you want me to explain why he's...
I got it.
Or you got it?
Yeah, he keeps them in this mansion, and they were literally just there because of his money.
Pretty much. If they weren't at Chris's house, they would be homeless.
So they're like, hey, there's this millionaire kid. We're never gonna find another millionaire kid to save Sonic out of a pool and become best friends.
Yeah, so let's just hang out with him. What could possibly go wrong?
Everything, because he's in every plot point. He takes the place of some characters. There's some character development that could happen in Tails and Amy's place because of Chris.
Yeah, that's another thing. You're right. Chris takes away development from other characters who are far more deserving.
And far more important.
Yes. And here's the weird thing. Even though the show would be better without the humans themselves aren't that bad.
Yeah, it's just Chris.
Literally.
It's literally just Chris.
I think the show would be far better and have aged far better if Chris wasn't in it.
You just cut out all parts with Chris somehow.
Yeah. And I don't want to blame the voice actress, because Chris was voiced by a girl. I don't want to blame her, but I feel like they could have chosen a better voice.
I think it's more the writing that really hit home and made Chris a terrible, terrible character.
I agree with you there, but I feel like doing that, the voice they've chosen almost makes him seem more naive in a way. And Chris actually thinks he's helping, when in reality, he is nothing but a nuisance.
The one time I remember him helping was when he took the 6 Chaos Emeralds out of the robot.
Which doesn't make any sense. He's like a 10-year-old kid.
And he somehow broke iron bars.
Ay. Chris is just terrible.
Friends with benefits, that's all he is.
We're never going to live that one down. I'm going to take this clip out and just put it on the channel as a sneak peek.
Just us bursting out laughing.
Chris!
It's just a clip of Chris, and he's just friends with benefits. Then it just shows a bunch of pictures of Chris in the mansion, giving them cakes, or his maid giving them cakes.
Yeah, and being like a butler.
We have a pool?
I'm so glad we explained our reasoning behind that statement.
Rather than... Because that could have been... Hey, Sonic.
That'd been really weird.
Yeah.
But... the next character is the only other human character on this list.
We have Chuck.
Chuck is the best. Yes, Chris's grandfather, and the best human character on the show, if you don't count Eggman.
Is Eggman human?
He technically is, because he was born on Earth.
He is a strange human. He's designed differently.
Yeah, he's so cartoonish he could be considered animalistic like the other characters. But aside from him, Chuck is the best human character on the show.
Without a doubt.
he's helpful, unlike Chris, because he's smart like Tails. He's almost as smart, if not smarter than Tails, making him a huge asset to the team.
He
Because
does
Chuck...
mention. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
He does mention in the show that he's not as smart as Tails, but it's up for debate, honestly.
Yeah, but the what was I saying? Chuck is just, again, he's so much more helpful than everyone. Chuck actively helps Tails find the Chaos Emeralds, and he helps him come up with substitutes when they can't find the Chaos Emeralds. Chuck is also aware of a secret military base called Area 99, which is supposedly a top secret military base, even though Chris knows about it. I don't get it.
He helps out Sonic with several plot points, and he helps out in the arc whenever they were trying to go home. He builds so much gadgets for them, and he's actually helpful when they go out on missions, and he doesn't get in the way.
Correct. The only downside I could see of Chuck is that he's not very good at his job of being a grandparent, because he lets Chris go on all these dangerous adventures with Sonic.
To be fair, everyone lets Chris go off on dangerous adventures with Sonic.
Except for his parents, because they're never home.
Except for that one arc.
Yeah.
Legitimately, though, whenever Chuck and Tails, whenever they're about to go through the portal, I almost broke down in tears. This is actually sad. Screw Sonic and Chris. I want Chuck and Tails.
Fair enough. Chuck, you're not a friend with benefits. You're just a cool friend.
You're my best friend. You're not. You're not them.
A friend with benefits.
Oh, gosh. I'm never gonna live that down, am I?
No. But that's all we really have to say about Chuck. He's Chris, but better.
He's a wisecracking old man.
Who loves baseball.
And building things.
Yes. And now, with that out of the way, we can move on to our honorable mentions and characters.
These characters, they deserve to be called out. They don't have much to say about them.
And there are a lot of them. We're not going to mention all of them, or else the podcast will already be longer than it is. But we'll mention some of the highlights. For me,
president.
Yeah, the president. He's cool. He's just a president, though.
I'm sorry, I cut you off there. What were you going to say?
You're fine. The news lady.
The news lady? The one who just constantly reports on everyone?
Yeah. She does get, like, story significance in the Sonic Adventure 2 arc, but that's the only time she gets story significance.
She has some place in the arena.
Yeah. But she's more there just to be the funny announcer.
More or less.
But overall, I mean, some people will argue maybe her inclusion due to her importance in that one arc, the Sonic Adventure 2 one. Mm-hmm. But other than that, all she does is just report the news.
And possible romance between the teacher lad.
Speaking of the teacher lad, Chris's teacher is secretly a government agent who's looking for Sonic.
And somehow they don't recognize this. Despite clearly all his gadgets and the fact that he clearly wants to know more about Sonic.
Yeah. I mean, Chris's friends are in grade school, so I will give him that.
That they are dumb.
Yeah. I'll give him that, but that's all I'll give him. Who's another honorable mention? Sam Speed, Chris's cousin, I think. The race car driver.
Sonic's rival. Not screw Shadow. This is Sonic's real rival.
Yeah. He's okay.
He owns the highway.
The only way he could catch me now is if he goes supersonic. Okay.
He literally does a sonic boom.
Yes.
He is the opening character in the world that's whenever Sonic's transported to Earth.
Yeah. They put a lot of effort into catching him for him just being a random hedgehog.
That's something I didn't understand whenever the episode first started.
Yeah.
I was happy though in those few moments because it was before we got to know Chris. So
yes.
For a few brief moments, I was happy.
It was much better. I was like, hey, this is actually pretty good. And then Chris came on screen, and I skipped the rest of the episode.
But there's not really much else to say about him. He
No.
owns the highway.
Yep.
And he'll miss Sonic.
Mm-hmm. There are Eggman's minions, Short Robot and Tall Robot.
That we don't remember the names of, so...
Deco and Beco.
If their names are mentioned, I don't remember.
I don't exactly remember them either. I think that's their names, but that might be incorrect.
There's also Lucky.
Yeah, who is...
Lucky. And Klutz.
Yeah, and just... His power is luck, which I don't exactly get. How do you program luck?
He has a bell, and he has a shamrock, and I don't know. He hates black cats. And what was the other minion that he had?
Cookn, the little black robot.
Yeah, wait, he's a robot?
I don't know. I think he's a robot, even though he's really, really annoying.
I didn't think he just likes cake. He likes sweets. That's all he wants.
And he has a higher pitched voice than Chris.
Don't put a higher pitched voice than Chris. Well, actually, or Tails. It's higher than Tails even.
Which is saying something, because Tails is voiced by a woman.
Yes. Oh, let's see. On the honorable mentions list, I have the servants.
Yeah, Mr. Tanaka.
Oh, Tanaka, I love him.
Yeah. The cook.
Did we mention... We did mention there's audio cues every time that some characters come on screen.
Yes.
Tanaka, he has a gong go off almost every time.
I don't know if you said that in the podcast, but I do remember you saying that at some point.
I said it before we started, I believe.
Yes, but Tanaka... Yep, he has a gong. And oddly enough, it's Tanaka that goes on the spaceship with them in the Sonic Adventure 2 arc, not Chuck.
I guess, sure, whatever makes sense. Tao holding Butler is the same as grandfather.
I'm too old to be going on spaceship, Sonic.
We did forget to mention how in the arena he does throw out his bag.
Which is probably the funniest part in the whole show.
There was so much happened to the characters in that episode.
That's the only good part of that arc, in my opinion, is just that it has so much weird filler content of just the characters being complete idiots, but it's so good.
Yeah, the president's a boxer.
Yeah.
And then he loses to the Black Knight, which I think is a reference to Mighty Python.
Maybe. And by the way, the dude in the Black Knight is like this dude who used to be the president's right-hand man or something, but then he got kicked out and became homeless.
The Black Knight always triumphs.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other honorable mentions? Chris has some school friends that are, ironically enough, less annoying than Chris.
Because they get less screen time than Chris?
Yeah. I would hope if they got as much screen time, they'd be like, yo, Chris, this is dangerous. We should let Sonic and his friends handle it.
Chris just say, nah, I'm as powerful as Sonic.
And they'll just be like, he's an idiot, isn't he? Why do we hang out with him?
Well, no, I can't say that.
Don't save it for afterwards. Any other honorable mentions?
I think that's it. I think we've gone through everyone else that's a repeating character. Wait, what was that girl that Rouge hang out with? The one woman?
Lopez?
Yeah.
She's Rouge's sidekick.
Gets called an older whammon a lot.
Yeah, even though she's, I don't know, late 20s, early 30s. It's not that old.
For all we know, she's younger than Rouge.
Honestly, yeah. Other than that, though, that's all the characters that are worth talking about.
Yeah, we've gone through them all.
And before we move on to our final thoughts on the show, let's talk about some fun facts.
This show has had a lot going on in the background, as a lot of shows do.
Yes. Would you like me to mention the Sonic voice actor controversy?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so at the time the show was produced, Ryan Drummond was the main actor for Sonic in the video games. And I believe his final time voicing the character was Sonic Heroes, which, if I'm correct, came out the same year as Sonic X. Now, Drummond tried to audition for Sonic X, but I think it was a mix of they couldn't let him due to the show being a non-union production and Drummond being a union actor, along with the fact that Drummond lived in California and the show was recorded in New York, which was unfortunate. However, Drummond still got to be the voice of the game. That was until Shadow the Hedgehog, which came out in 2004 and replaced all of the video game voice actors with the cast of Sonic X, which some people were really upset about at the time.
And it sort of threw people off.
Yeah, because I don't know if you've heard the voices, but they're different. And they tried to make it to where Sonic's voice was different, but still the same as the old guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I would argue the voices are so different, they're completely different characters.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I forgot one fun fact. Mike Pollock, the voice of Eggman, voices the cook in Chris's house.
Which shows you the range of how this voice actor can do. Mike Pollock is definitely...
Yes. Also, not only is he not a woman, he's also not Hispanic like the lady. So that would never happen nowadays.
Dang. It definitely saves money, but some people would realize that, hey, wait, this voice actor, it sounds a little bit similar. Does it not?
Yeah. But that's all the fun facts I have. Do you have one, or are you ready to give your final thoughts on the show?
I think a fun fact of mine would be that for some reason, the show, I think it wrapped up in 2014 is when the final season aired, the finale.
Yeah,
but yet, for some odd reason, it didn't air in Japan until 2020.
Right.
And I think part of that has to do with the popularity of it, because I think it was more popular in the West than it was in Japan, despite the fact that Japan is the one that made the show and did the writing for it.
And I think the main reason they finally broadcasted it on TV in Japan was because of the movie, which was very popular when it came out.
They sort of went with the flow, which kudos to you. You have the patience to wait for the live action Sonic movie to come out. Kudos.
Yeah. But
I think we're ready to go through our final thoughts, because I'm all out of fun facts if you are.
yes, overall, I think you can tell me and Peyton did not have the best time watching this show. Out of all the animated things we've reviewed, this is probably our least favorite. If you're looking for a Sonic cartoon to watch, you're probably better off watching Sonic Boom, or heck, maybe even some of the 90s Sonic cartoons. But overall, it's okay. There are some good factors, like some of the voice acting and some of the story arcs, but overall, it's just not worth watching nowadays, especially with Chris. If I had to give it a number rating, I'd give it a 4 or 5 out of 10. Again, that's not the Japanese version. I haven't seen it completely, and I know probably watching it would be a very different experience.
As far as my opinion goes, I feel they could have done better. There were certain characters that need to be removed. Chris. And there was parts that I feel they could have added a bit more in. But there's too much that doesn't happen in the show, and it has the feel of more of a kid's show. So even though I probably would have given it a higher rating as a child, as watching it as an adult, I don't have no nostalgia factor. I gotta probably give it a 3 on a number rating scale.
That's understandable. But with that, that's the end of our Sonic X review, part 1.
We were going to do 3, and we're going to continue our marathon of every other episode Sonic.
But it will be next episode instead of every other episode.
We are going to get this done.
Yes, in time for the new movie. So, tune in next time to the Cookn Matrix podcast, where we end off our every other episode Sonic the Hedgehog marathon as we discuss Sonic X Season 3.
This will be an interesting episode because it'll wrap up our thoughts on it. Maybe it'll change our opinions on it because I haven't seen Season 3 yet. Sam, he hasn't seen it in years. So their opinions can change.
Absolutely. I'll save my thoughts on it for next time. But, as always, thank you all for watching. Let us know any ideas you have for the show down in the comments. Thank you to the people who are watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Leave any comments below about characters. Give us your thoughts and opinions. And adios.
Later, everyone.